Hello, I wanted to record a quick update video because it's been a while since I did one last time, I think. I haven't been that prolific with my update videos this year. It's not really because we haven't been doing anything or making any progress. I think it's mostly because partly I haven't felt the urge to do it, and also we haven't made any super sort of videoable work. Maybe that's not true, but well, anyways, here I am, and I wanted to show you one of the things that we've been doing, and in this case, it's just me for the time being. But I have worked on something that I call Ludo DB, and it is effectively a new, well, it's a tool inspired by CastleDB. And CastleDB is kind of like a database entry tool that is suitable for entering game related data, I would say. If you have ever used tools like if you opened like MySQL or SQLite or something, they might be good for like filtering database, looking at database stuff with like at queries and stuff, but they're not really good for entering data. I feel like they're not very nice for that. And CastleDB I've used quite a bit, and I do like it, but it is the main problem with it. Well, there's two main problems. One is that it's quite slow. When you start to get like above maybe 100 entries, even it starts to get quite slow to work in it. I think that's about where we started to find that, at least. And 100 is really nothing, right? If you're making a reasonably sized game, I think you can easily get up to 100 entries in various ways. And the second problem is that it's based on Haxi, the language, and is sort of the UI is based on web technologies, which means that it was a little bit hard to understand and to change without really digging into it and really understanding exactly how it worked. I don't know. I made some improvements, but some of the improvements that I wanted to make were just a little bit too much work for me. And I think performance-wise, it would have been almost impossible to solve with that tech stack. So since ever since I used that, I wanted to make a native sort of version of that, something that is just as good or better, even in some ways, usability wise, but is primarily maybe faster. That can technically have like tens of thousands of things without getting slowed down, and I don't think that should be impossible. I haven't tried Ludo yet with that many items because it's still quite early, but I definitely think that I can get there without any problems, really. Okay, crossed fingers, poorly crossed fingers. And so this is what it looks like now, and what I've focused on to begin with is to get I think two of the main features from CastleDB in that I think made it really, really useful. And so we can just I just have a single table here. I don't have like you can have multiple tables, but there's not like a nice UI for it. There's lots of it's still very early. It's not very pretty to use or anything, but it is it has the features that I really need to in order to get started, at least with using it for data entry for tides. And you can see here that I have one edit type, which is ID, like a text string that you can just enter. And you can see that if I enter here, it actually it updates the view here as well, which is nice. So that's one. I also have just integer columns where you can have an integer. And but those are very basic, right? Those nothing particularly interesting about that. But this is where it starts to get interesting. So, and this is what normal sort of database editors don't have, or they do, but it's in a very, like, it's a cumbersome way. And this is basically a way to have tables inside of a table. This is also something that you can't really have in Excel. Well, I mean, you probably can, but also, again, in a very cumbersome way. And so if we look at this, for example, this opens up a new table below it that is currently empty for this. And if we open this one, this is not empty. This has one line in it, one row in it, and this is our this column is a reference, and it references this column in this in this table here. So I can drop down here and I can choose any of the items that are in this column here. And when I do that, you can see that the preview that I have up here changes as well, which is, you know, nice. So Birch should probably have as parent. Oops, did I? No, here we go. Should I probably have like tree as its parent, I guess. Right. Or probably actually it shouldn't, but that's a that's a different story. And it can even have multiple ones. So here, if we have a birch tree that has two parents, one is tree and one is birch. Yeah, so now we can see the birch here should probably actually be, this should be a material, not a tree. Because then we can have things like, well, a birch tree is both a tree and it is made of birch, sort of the material birch. So this sort of reference to other tables with a drop down, and if I add a line here and add like something, I can just immediately reference that here, right? So I think that's very useful. And also this subtable concept, which normally you would have to have like a completely separate table, and you would have to like reference back with like foreign keys and such, and that is actually how it works behind the scenes. But this is just a very, like, this is like a nicer way to edit and to view data. And like, this is not awesome yet. Like, these buttons are not like, you know, this is not like the how I envision the final UI. But usability wise, it works at least. So I'm pretty happy about that. And you can also save it, and this currently the format is in JSON, just as in CastleDB, which is nice because you can, you know, put it in version control and so on. But it also outputs, and this is just from my, you know, for Tides usage. It outputs basically the table, but in SIG format. It generates the code for like the structs for the tables, and also generates a function which you can call, and that will create this table in SIG basically. I'm not exactly sure if this works yet. I haven't really tried it, but at least it does, you know, most of what it needs to do. I don't think it handles recursive subtables, for example, but that's like a detail. So yeah, that's something that we have cooking at the moment, and this is actually not part of the Tides repo. I did have it as a public repo, but then I realized that maybe I actually want to keep this private for a while at least. I'll see. If you are watching this and you think that this looks like it has potential, feel free to let me know, and I can get you, I can get you a binary so you can try it out. And yeah, I have a feeling that this is something that a lot of game developers actually need, but maybe haven't realized yet. That is my guess. So that's a little bit why I'm keeping it a little bit under wraps for now. but I'm really happy about this, early as it is. Yeah, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. Blah blah blah.